Hey, Kristen. Here and Tiffany, Amanda. Let's turn my volume up.
I'm here. I'm making dinner.
All right, can you all hear me? Thumbs up. Okay, good. Thanks. Sorry. My computer was acting funny. Hey, everybody. We'll give it a couple minutes. Obviously, our speaker is not quite here yet, but it's not yet 8:30, or maybe it just hit 8:30. Oh, there we go. All right, look at everybody popping on. I love to see like the chat box is open, or like the video box is open and people's names pop up on the side. We'll give it just another minute or so. I think I see Nicole on. Yes, I do. When you pop on, if you want to make sure to just go ahead and mute yourself so that we don't get some background noise. And Nicole, if you want to tell me when you're good to go, we're on your timeline tonight. So whenever you're ready. All right. I don't think I see you. I don't think I see you on video, which is fine if you want to be incognito, but we're ready whenever. There you are. Let's unmute you.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
You have everything ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So as people start to pop on, let's just get going because we want to be respectful of Nicole's time. But I'm so excited she's here to talk to you tonight. I met Nicole randomly last February in LA. It was really, we were at the New Leader Conference together. Along with some other faces in here. And I was on the bus on my way to head over to the corporate headquarters. And I can't remember if it was Nicole or one of her friends that said, hey, can my friend sit with you? And I was like, yeah, of course. And then as we got to talking, we realized that we were all within the same downline of sorts. And so then it was really neat to get to talk to some other Team Courage ladies while we were there. It was like a little piece of home in LA. And then fast forward to Las Vegas, at the leadership retreat, and I saw Nicole again, and I really got to talking with her, and I just love hearing, what she had to say and her story and the passion she had behind it. So I thought that it would be great to bring her here with you today. So a little bit about Nicole. She has been coaching for 5 years. She is a 5-star diamond coach and a retired band director. She is a Success Club legend. She is a wife of almost 14 years. She's got 2 little boys, correct? 6
Yes.
and 3. And her husband has been having quite the transformation himself. So she is inspiring those closest to her at home, and then helping others along the way and building a pretty rock star team. So Nicole, I'm just going to hand it off to you and give you the mic.
No pressure. All right. Well, I'm going to stick this on gallery view so I can see you. If you are a teacher, you know that. Can you hear me okay? Okay. I work off interaction, and I like to look at my students' faces. So if you would, I don't care what you look like. I don't care if there's busyness in the background, but I'm hoping tonight is interactive. I hope my main goal for you is that you leave in the next 30 or 45 minutes with a renewed passion that you have already done the thing that you scare the most and that you can do it again tonight. I just want you to leave tonight with belief. I don't care if you remember my name or my team or any of the bullet points that I give you or any of the book titles. I want you to finish tonight knowing that you can do the things because you've already done them. So yes, all the things Krista said about me are true, but really the basis of my story really is I was 240 pounds. I was teaching 80 to 100 hours a week. We decided to have our first kiddo, and when you get pregnant, you eat all the things. So to say I was miserably overweight and overworked and tired and stressed is an understatement. And my coach reached out to me. I did a 10-day challenge, and I lost 10 pounds in 10 days. And I thought Shakeology was some sort of voodoo. Like, what is in this stuff? I have been trying to lose 10 pounds for 3 years. I've done all the things. I'm sure you guys can relate. Weight Watchers and 500-calorie diets and all, And I told her I would commit to doing a 90-day challenge. Way back then, we did not have 30-day groups. We did not have 30-minute workouts. 5 years ago was literally a shake and a workout. It was 45 minutes or an hour, and it was 90 days long. At the end of that 90 days, I had lost 70-something pounds. And she, of course, just like we do with our rock stars, she kept asking me to coach. And I was like, first of all, I'm too busy. I have a newborn. I'm an overweight band director. I have 2 degrees in music. And second of all, I don't even know what a Facebook group is. Like, I barely know how to get onto our groups. And she stayed on me. And she kept asking and kept asking. And 4 months later, I signed up to coach. And I have built slowly over 5 years based on that belief that if I can do it in 10 days, my challengers can do it in 10 days. If I can do this in 4 months, my challengers can do it in 4 months. And if I can build a 5-star in 5 years, you can do it too. I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi because I feel like I'm skipping. So Krista, if it's like skipping, will you send me a message or whatever so that I can see? Okay, that's enough about me because I don't really want you to leave this call knowing about me. I want you to think back of when you learned to ride a bike. And I want a show of hands on this call. I can only see like 25 of you at a time. But show of hands of who knows how to ride a bike. Do you know how to ride a bike? Okay, tonight we're going to talk about riding a bike. If you've never learned how to ride a bike, let's put that on your to-do list, okay? So if you're not on video and I can't see you, like first thing tomorrow, after you do your workout, go buy a bike and let's figure out how to ride a bike. If you know how to ride a bike, at some point in your life, you learned a skill and you were terrified, and overcame the fear at the same time. I'm going to say that again. At some point in your life, when you learned to ride your bike, you learned a skill and you overcame a fear at the same time. I didn't say you had to wait to invite 3 weeks later. I didn't say you had to wait to meal plan 3 weeks later. At the exact same time, you learned to ride your bike and you overcame your fear. Now, I learned to ride a bike really early. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but we started like professionally riding bikes way back like 10 years ago. And I do remember getting on that like clip-in bike and trying to pedal and that fear. So that's where this call came from. I have a bunch of notes for you, but I do want to tell you that the thought process of my teaching came from this book. It's called Clip In. This is not a Beachbody book. It's not really even a motivational book, to be honest. My mother and my husband are both pastors, and this book is about hospitality in the church. And every time he spoke about this bike thing, I was like, my team coaching. So you are welcome to purchase this book called Clip In. I just don't want you to think that my ideas are my own. They're Jim Osier's, and I'm going to share them with you today. It's a super short read, but I feel like, man, it was perfect. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. You can post in the chat since there's a lot of us on here. I don't want you to unmute till the end, and then you can ask me questions because I'll try to be a little bit quicker. What makes a bike go? What makes your bike go? So if you have kids and they're like 3 or 4, like what makes your bike go? Anybody? Well, let's start with this. Here's what he says. It's complicated. There's inertia and centrifugal forces and gravity and torque and all of the things. Yes, pedaling, but what makes it actually go, right? Pedaling forward. Effort. Anybody else? Simplicity I wrote down it's a combination of balance and momentum. Yes, look at you. Now you all got it. All 3 of you, right at the same time. Momentum. When your coaching business is in balance, like when you feel like you're like balanced, anybody notice, maybe it's just my business, but I feel like my momentum slows down. When I feel balanced, like, you know, I walk out and I'm like, okay, I'm being a good mom and a good wife and a good coaching, whatever. I feel like the momentum isn't there, like the push isn't there, the pedal forward isn't there. But I also don't want my balance to suck all the time. I'd like the momentum to be good without having to like really kill myself during launch. Like, you know, we have focus times in our business where we launch programs like today, right? And then parts of our business that we can relax from. Okay, so going back to the beginning, we talked about when you learned a skill and you overcame a fear when you were riding your bike. What are your skills as a coach? Or if you are a Star Diamond coach on here and you have team members, what's a skill that you would like your coaches to do? So like, you know, my 3-year-old learning to ride a bike, he needs to learn how to pedal and deal with that momentum. Motivation, invite. Social media. Anybody's team members struggle with what to post on social media? Skills that like get better with time. Yeah, there you go. What about our relationships? Like it's really hard for us to send messages. We're not good at the relationship part of this business. Or this is my personal struggle, is personal fitness. It's not a love of mine. I had to learn that skill as a coach. And then I had to post a picture of my freaking self working out, which is another skill, right? Staying on your journey and initially connecting. What's the fear? What's the fear? So the skill are our vital behavior, social media, working out, drinking a shake. What's the fear? Most of my team, the fear is inviting. And I think that goes back to the relationship part of this. I think the other big fear that I hear a lot in my team is the follow-up. So the invites are super easy for them. They just like crank them out. But then to actually like reach out, like they're worried that they're bugging somebody. Rejection of no. Anybody have a fear of judgment? Like, I had a professional circle as big as the state of Texas. I had been a teacher for 10 years. We had an amazing program. I was super fearful of the judgment from my colleagues. I was super fearful of the judgment of my family. Fearful of being salesy. Sure. Anybody have a fear of success? I hear this too. I could never do what you do. I don't want to lead like you do. I don't want to be on a call at 7:45 at night. My dad's actually in the other room with my kiddos to make sure they don't run in here. I can't get to 2-star because I will have to work my business 30 minutes more. I can't lose all the weight because then I'm afraid of where I will go. Like the fear of success. Yeah. So, but you've already learned to ride a bike. You've already learned to overcome a fear and know the skill behind it at the same time. So imagine when you first started to ride. Okay. So like go back to when you were 5 years old, or I don't know if you were 20 years old and you were doing your clip-in bikes. What were you worried about? What were you worried about when you got on that bike? Anybody? I know that I was not worried about inertia and momentum. I was not worried about the freaking skill. I was worried about falling, face planting, getting hurt, going over and like breaking my head and dying. I was 5 years old. Like, you're not going to die from falling off a bike, but it's like that irrational fear. You know what that is? That's that fear of inviting. That's that fear of not connecting in the right way. That's that fear of screwing up the workout and not making it to 30 minutes and not giving your grace for only doing 20 minutes. You were scared. You're unsure of how it worked. You knew that like your butt went one place and your feet went on other places, but you didn't really know. I mean, you've never ridden a bike before. How bad would falling hurt? And you may think, I'm like, how far is this rejection going to go? How far is this invite process going to hurt me? How embarrassed would you feel if you had learned to ride your bike and fallen in front of your friends? Oh no, she did face plant, broke her 2 front teeth. Okay, well, we need to rewrite your story, Tiffany, so that you don't have that experience again. For 99% of us, we got through it. We got on the bike. We figured out where the pedals were. We rode maybe 2 cycles or maybe all the way down the street. And it could have been that your dad was holding or your mom was holding your butt, like the thing underneath the bike the whole time, like trying to get you to go all the way down. Or if you have kids, like I've done the same thing to ours, like you're like toddling along to make sure that they don't fall, but you did it. It's a learned skill. Someone had to help you. You didn't just like, I don't think anybody here just like jumped on a bike and like went. It's a learned skill. You know what your job is as a coach? To help somebody else learn to ride a bike. Your job is to hold on to the seat and push them down. I don't care if it's your coaching team or your challengers, but that's your job. And some of you are holding on so tight to the seat of that bike that you're not letting go. And then I get this from my coaching team. They never want to run their own challenge groups. My challengers never want to become coaches. Like think of all of the like umbilical cord things. That's because you're holding on so tightly to the back of that bike. Whereas you never would have learned to pedal forward and have momentum unless your coach lets go. So if you keep messaging your upline for help, if you've been in this business like longer than 3 or 4 months, it's time for you to like turn back and say, let go of my seat. Let me go. And then and I'm talking to you, I don't care if you face plant. You're going to fail at some point. You're going to not know where the brakes are. You might turn wrong into a ditch, but you're not going to die. And the next time you get to that point in your riding bike series, you're going to figure out how to not face plant or how to fall to the left instead of the right. You're going to figure it out. But you cannot keep asking your coach to hold on or your challengers to hold on. Like, I can't lose the weight without you. I can't become 1-star without you. I can't earn my first $1,000 without you. That's a bold-faced lie. If you learned how to ride a bike, you've already overcome the fear. You already know how to do it. Okay, well, I'm sorry that your friend dropped you. I think Tiffany, you need to, where do you live? You need to come to my house and we're going to like erase the bad memories and we're going to start this all over again so you learn how to ride a bike. Okay. So you're riding your bike. This is your first time through, you're riding your bike. What do you feel? You're not face planting. You haven't fallen yet. You're like, have a couple pedals. Your hair is like blowing through whatever crazy get up your parents put you in because they were worried you're going to break all the bones. You know, you had like wrist pads and elbow pads, and maybe that was just my parents. You felt exhilaration of the wind. You had confidence. You were thrilled. You had joy. You were excited. You know what that is in your coaching business? Anybody remember your first customer? Anybody remember? I remember my first 10-pound loss, and it's been 5 years, and I've lost way more than 10 since then. I remember the first picture I got from a challenger was a picture of herself in a black dress. I remember going emerald. I remember going diamond. I remember going like little points along my journey that are burned, that joy, that exhilaration, that wind in my hair. Those are what you're working for. Yeah, it sucks getting on the bike sometimes, and it's super scary sometimes, and you might fall flat on your face. But if you get back up, you're going to get to that next point that feels good, that has joy. I don't want you to forget what it's like to be on the ride because you're scared to start going. Am I with you? You guys okay so far? Have I lost you? Okay. After you've learned to ride, okay, so no longer face planting, maybe your coach isn't holding on or your parents are holding on to the back of your bike. Now we have to worry about other things. Okay, so in our coaching businesses, really, I want them to learn how to ride their bikes, or my challengers to ride their bikes before we have to worry about some of the details. And here are some of the details. You got to learn how to change a tire, at least if it's an adult bike. Okay, so now we're not like 5 and 6 years old anymore. We're riding a decent sized bike, and the inside loop of your tire bursts. Like, you have to know how to change a tire, or you're walking a long way back. Some of our bike rides, somebody on social media like did a 100-mile ride this week or something. I think that's a thing going on right now because it's fall. I think the longest I ever went was 20 or 30 miles, but I'm not walking that home. You had to figure out how to ride or how to change the tire. You had to adjust the seat and the handlebars, and this is really important. My team name is Team Genuine because I want my team to share in the most real way possible. I want them to be relatable, and here's where the seat and handlebar thing is. Anybody have a really nice bike? Like, do I have any triathletes or anything on this call? And you like go to the bike store and you pick a bike based on your weight and your height. Okay, you spend an insane amount of money on this bike, and then you go in and they adjust it to you. They adjust your handlebars, they adjust the seat. No one on this call can ride Ashley Molsted's bike. Y'all stop trying to be Melanie Mitro. Y'all stop trying to be your coach. Would you stop? You have to ride your bike. You have to sit on your seat and you have to adjust your handlebars. And you know what? Over 5 years of coaching, I have grown in my bike ride and I've had to sit and readjust. I just came off a retreat of, I didn't know anybody there. I was terrified. I actually puked the night before I went. That growth, that adjustment was necessary for me to push my team further. So I think the biggest disservice we do to ourselves is we get going, we have exhilaration, we have our first challenger, you go emerald, and then you look left and right and you are like, I need to be like her and I need to have abs like him. And how come I can't have 100 Success Club points? That's not your bike. That's their bike. Leave their bike alone and you go adjust yours. And speaking of that, anybody ride a bike that's like wobbly? Like you get to the point in your coaching business that you know that it's like, something doesn't feel right. You got to adjust it or go to a specialist to adjust it for you. We have lots of events for those. You got Super Saturday. We just had one of those. You have Summit. Go to a retreat that's not Beachbody related, but you got to go somewhere and feel something that you can adjust that. Anybody reading a PD book that like doesn't feel good? You're like, I just need to adjust it, but I don't like the book. Then change the freaking book. Like read one that's you need to hear. Sometimes you need to hear your personal journey. Sometimes you need to hear it on leadership. Tossed your book over the weekend. Like, sorry, I'm trying to read your comments as I'm going because I really want you, I really want you to be interactive here. So if you have questions that we can go on. Okay, here's the last one. So I'm riding this really expensive bike. I feel good. Tim Genuine. We're all like set up. And then like my sprocket falls off, or the like super expensive thing on the backside that has like 13 gears. Like I don't know how to fix that. What do you do? What do? You have this really expensive bike. Something's broken on it. Do you sit there and try and fix it yourself? Well, maybe Kimberly does. You go to YouTube. Good. Anybody else? You find somebody to do it for you. Please don't. I mean, okay, yeah, maybe you go to YouTube, but if it's going to take you 2 hours or 20 hours or 3 weeks to fix your bike, how much time have you wasted with your family? How much time have you wasted on your coaching business? How much time have you wasted that you could have been having with your kids? Some of you need assistance. Some of you need someone to come and do your laundry. Some of you need a maid. Some of you need to ask your parents. Like my dad is literally outside this door and he's going to be here for 30 minutes to get my kids in bed because my husband's meeting with his pastors tonight. Sometimes you got to ask for help. No successful coach does this alone. And I don't care, and I'm not talking about the coaching team behind me or that I have a billion diamonds that can run challenge groups or that the volume is, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the team of people that keep my household going. $20 a week for me to pay for somebody to do my laundry means that I can sign another coach and start them on their bike ride. Getting a maid means that we can go on a date night, that I don't have to stress Saturday morning about getting up and wasting family time because somebody else is doing it for me. So if you wouldn't fix your own sprocket on a really expensive bike, please don't try to fix some of those things in your coaching business. And if the little birdie inside your head right now is telling you, I can't afford that, yes, you can. You just haven't worked your coaching business enough to afford that. I told my coach that I would believe her that this business would work if I could cover my mortgage payment in 4 months. I told her this was a pyramid scheme. No one would listen to me. There was no way I could make money. I mean, $30 on a bag of Shakeology, you guys, I was like, how does anybody make any money at that? $30 is like no big deal. It took me 4 months. It took me 4 months, and we bought our house in April, and we gutted it, and we moved it in September, and I have not looked back. So when I wanted somebody to do my laundry, $20 a week meant that I had to get one more challenge pack a week, or I had to have a customer continue once a week. Like I just really broke it down. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, if I pay an assistant $10 an hour, that's 2 hours a week. Somebody else can make my graphics. Somebody else can open my challenge groups. Somebody else can pull the reports on Thursdays so I don't have to do it. Somebody else can answer my emails. This weekend, there were lots of top coaches speaking. Most of their assistants send their invites. How many of you were like, I hate inviting. I hate inviting. I can follow up all day long, but I hate inviting. Hire somebody else to do it. Hire somebody else to do it. There are teams of people within Beachbody and beyond that will do that for you. That needs to go on your checklist. Okay, in March of this year, I had my first team retreat, and finding someone else to do it for me, I was really trying to build leadership outside our team. I didn't want all of the burden on me. I had gotten in my leadership lid of like, I can't handle doing this by myself. What else can I do? And I found this lady. I'm sure if you're in corporate world, you've heard of this before, but I told Team Courage about this if you were on my call for this. But this is called strengths-based selling. And the keyword here is strengths. It's called Strengths Finders, and it's a list of 32 strengths that we all have. And I made my team buy this book that came with the test. And then the ones that earned retreat, they had to get a certain volume point. We did not do it based on rank, could come to the retreat. And I paid a lot of money to have this lady come and speak life over my team on their strengths. So my top 4 strengths are like, I'm a visionary. They call it futurist. I'm focused. So it's super easy for me to just like zone in. I'm a really good communicator. I have this thing called command. So leadership, like those are my top 4. But the thing is, my star diamonds, what my strengths were, theirs were like the complete opposite. And it was really cool to watch them go, I don't have to be like Nicole. I don't have to, like some of you don't need help on your laundry. It was so cool to watch that leadership go, I have my own strengths. I have been successful on my own strengths, and I can do the same thing. So if you haven't heard of Strengths Finders, it's like $16 on Amazon. Get it, take the test, and you get your top 5. And then the cool part about this book is, specifically for Beachbody coaches, is we sell. And I can flip to my strength, like my strength is communication. And forever I was telling myself this lie. I was saying I couldn't send out 40 conversations a day or have 100 conversations in my inboxes, because that was like overwhelming. And I was like reading my strengths-based selling, and I'm communication. And it was like, yes, you can. That's the strength of Bruce. Yes, you can. So it was so good. It was so good. Christina, when did I start hiring out? How far into the business? I started hiring out, I was probably a diamond coach at the point where I started hiring out, at the point where I realized pulling reports in my team page and setting up challenge groups was taking time away from me mentoring my new coaches and taking care of my challengers. Some people start hiring as soon, like they want their assistant to take care of their challengers so they can do the challenge group stuff. It totally depends on what your strength is. So just because that's what I hired out doesn't mean that's when you need to too. This weekend, and now her name just totally I just totally lost her name. She's a 2-time 15-star diamond. She started hiring out when she went emerald. She was like 50% of my profit went to my assistant because I knew and believed. Melanie Mitro said she hired out as soon as she went diamond. Like she was like, I made $4 more a cycle. So that went to my assistant. So I think you're there. If you're having to ask, I think you're there. Okay. So we're riding a bike. All's good. Your momentum's good. Sometimes balance is off. You know how to tweak it. But then you want to go to the next level. How many of you have been stuck at a rank for a while, or stuck at an income, or I'm speaking to myself here, stuck at a weight, like my weight has like totally plateaued. Okay. So if you're stuck, here's how to get unstuck. And it's the title of the book. And I get chills every time I talk about this. You need to clip in. Does anybody know what clipping like on a bike is? Anybody know? Okay. Clipping in are special shoes that have this thing, and then the pedal is special, and then there's like this, it's like a cage, and your foot is literally trapped on the pedal. You have to know how to unclip yourself from your bike in order, like professional bikers, like we're talking Lance Armstrong and all the like triathletes, they have clipped in bike shoes. The clip scares the bejesus out of me too. Welcome to your coaching business fears. Welcome to your, I'm at a plateau, I don't know how to move past it. You're freaking scared of it. And it's expensive. And I'm not necessarily just talking about money. So let's go through this. When you're going to clip in, coaching is like a 10-speed bike. Most of you only use gear 1 and 2. Most of you get comfortable in gear 1 and 2, and you're never about to go to 3, 4, 5, and you're like 10, forget it. Forget it. I'm not ever going to get to 10. We're going to get to 10 by the end of this call. We probably have like 5 more minutes. Clipping in is professional. Clipping in means that person has traded in their Huffy, what's the old bike? For a professional carbon $3-4 grand bike. They have invested in shoes that are specifically for biking. Anybody got shoes for your working out? Anybody had to change their shoes when they were a runner? You've invested. Anybody a biker for real? You have to have padded, like the shorts that you wear are padded, even for men. It's uncomfortable to sit on a bike professionally and ride that hard without some sort of padding on your backside. So those are expensive. They're like $60 a pair. It's like buying Lulus, but not cute, and adds extra to your butt. Like, who wants that? But they are more comfortable. It takes an investment of time to learn what those clips that Kimberly is talking about. It takes you figuring out how to tie these new shoes, how to do that on your bike. And then the very first thing, if you're a professional biker, that you learn is not how to pedal forward with the clips, it's how to get out of them. The very first thing they teach you is how to fall with clips. They teach you how to fail. So first of all, you get over the fear that Tiffany has of like front teeth falling out. And so you really don't seriously injure yourself. You're going to fall. You're going to fail. This business is not this way. Learning to ride a bike does not go this way. Your business goes like this. And you have to be able to change and know when to unclip and clip back in so that you can keep going. Otherwise, and this isn't any of you because you're on the call tonight, but your team members quit because they think that it's like this. They think that they are just going to go forward when in reality they have to learn how to fall first. Okay, and then they know how to clip in. It's consistent, regular practice over the long haul. Consistent, regular practice. And it may not be biking, but have you ever stopped something and then tried to do it again? Like, it's slower at the beginning. You have to relearn how to do it. If you took weeks off of working out because you had an injury, it's slower at the beginning. I'm telling you, this new program that's coming out in December, all of us will have to pause to watch Shaun T, figure out where his legs are going to do the move. Like, it's slower at the beginning because it's new. If you will just commit to doing this for a year or two or forever, you won't have to worry about dropping off when the business goes down. I will never quit. I am a lifer. It doesn't matter to me if I don't make another dime. This has impacted my family and you, and I will never quit. So when I get to the point where my clips don't work or I fall off my bike, I keep going. No one gets to the top of the hill in their bicycle and looks at the bottom and says, I'm getting off halfway. When you go down a hill, it's the best part of riding a bike because you don't have to do anything. Stop doing that in your business. You're getting halfway through and you're like, peace out. I'm done. It's too hard. I had a coach quit. It's too hard. I lost rank. It's too hard. I gained 10 pounds. It's too hard. On the downhill is where you have to have the vision to go forward. You have to have the vision in the long-term mindset to know that when the hill comes, you've had enough momentum on the downhill slope and enough growth on the downhill slope that you can make it up the next hill. Okay, when you're clipped in, you are powerful, you are more efficient, you go faster and farther with less effort. I'm going to say that one again. You go faster and farther with less effort. Anybody want faster and farther in your business with less effort? Your containers takes a lot of, I just recommitted today actually for 3 more weeks of containers. I was in the 2D Mindset Test Group, life-changing, amazing. But I've gotten away from some portion stuff. I'm telling you, right now, it's a lot of effort for me to relearn those dang containers, even if I'm only doing it for 3 weeks. But you guys know by week 2 that gets easier. And by 3, it's like, oh yeah, I know what a yellow container looks like. Same for your challengers. That first week takes a whole lot of effort. But if they put in the effort and they put in the knowledge and they put in they've already committed monetarily. If you will just stay on them by the next week and the next week, it's easier. And you have less effort because you've already put it in at the beginning. Alana says it almost, daily. This takes a lot of effort at the beginning. Do a lot of effort now so you can have bigger weight loss in month 2 and month 3 and month 4. Guys, do a lot of effort now in your Beachbody business. Do a lot of effort now. This is slow season. Don't get caught in I have to have Success Club 20 this month and next month, because come December, if you are consistent, if you have lost weight this month and next month, if you have been present on social media, when the old Nicole who was uncomfortable in her skin needed somebody, you are going to pop into my head because you've been there, because you've been riding your bike, because you got back up, because I don't care if on Halloween you ate 14 Snickers bars and you wake up the next morning and you share that the scale went up 5 pounds. I will remember when I have goals on January 1st that you were real and that you were consistent and that you showed up. Yeah, Krista, that you just showed up. Do not if you slow down now, I promise you, come January, the rest of the market's going to fly by you and you're going to be like sitting there going, I don't know where the rest of my biking friends are. They all left me in the dust because they were consistent now. Okay. Are there any risks to being a serious cyclist? Are there any risks? Death. I have a friend who died biking. Are there any risks to your Beachbody business? Loss of investment, loss of belief. There's some risks. Time, for sure, Kimberly, for sure. Lost time. You can't ever get time back, right? But what are the rewards for that risk? And that's the basis of it. A cyclist knows when they clip in that the risk is worth the reward, that the risk of clipping in and paying for those means less efforting on the uphill. So if you're not a professional cyclist, maybe get on YouTube and go look at someone who is clipped in. But the reward for that bicyclist was worth all of the effort at the beginning. And I don't know where you are in your business, and I don't care if you don't remember who I am, but I'm telling you the risks that I took 5 years ago, the risks that I took 2 months ago, the risks that I took this morning will pay off way more in rewards than I can even look at. And you know that. Sometimes we just forget to get on the damn bike and go. Sometimes you're just like, forget to pedal. You just like sit there and wait instead of going. Okay, this is a quote that I love by Frances Willard. On riding a bike, I finally concluded that all failure was from a wobbling will rather than a wobbling wheel. I finally concluded that all failure was from a wobbling will rather than a wobbling wheel. So all you have to do is find the will. And I told you at the beginning of the call, I hope that you leave tonight and you know you've learned to ride a bike, you've learned a skill, and you've overcome great fear at the exact same time already. You can do it again, and you could probably teach somebody else to do it the same way. And if you fail, who cares? If you onboard your first coach and you don't have any idea what you're doing, who cares? You got 6 weeks to figure it out before the big push comes. Transform 20 is coming out in, I don't even know, 7 weeks? You got time. Fail forward. Might as well do it now. Any of my new coaches that are joining this week, I tell them the same thing. This is my favorite time of year because everybody else kind of puts the brakes on. And I clip in, and I'm ready to run with you, and I will mentor you while everybody else is piling in the Halloween candy and preparing for Thanksgiving meal and making all things pumpkin that they swear to God they only eat once a year. And I'm like, yeah, right. This is the time of year to clip in, to invest in an assistant, to figure out what you need to do to, get past your plateau on your fitness journey, what you need to do for your coaches so that in January, end of December, you can go through it. Okay. That's all I got, y'all. I'm hoping that was a little belief inspiring for you. If you have questions, I can hang out for about 10 minutes probably.
I think I'm speechless. There was like so many times I was like, oh, I've got to write that down. I've got to write that down. If anybody has questions, feel free to either unmute yourself or comment in the chat box.
I just think it's easier for us to just think of it as something we've already done. Coaching is so scary because we haven't done it. Where do I find my assistants? That's a really good yet hard question. My first one was a challenger of mine who did graphic design, and I told her I would pay her $10 an hour. She just needed to keep track of her hours, and I was like, I can't go over $100 a month. Like my limit was $100 a month. And as the business has grown, I've gone through 3 others. Word of mouth, asking my upline. There's a couple businesses now that just do VAs, which are virtual assistants that you can Google search, literally Beachbody VA. After the call, Krista, I have a company that I use that I can email you her name. How do I get my coaches started? Like, what's the process look like? I just talked to one today. She's signing up right now. I talked to them about my expectation for the first month, and my expectation for the first month totally depends on what they want. So I ask them, what do they like about I send them a video before they onboard, right? Like, what interests you about this? Do you want to make money? Yes, it's very individual. Do you want to make money? Do you want to just lose the weight? Do you just need extra accountability? I talk to them about that, and then I have a getting started right call after they do their first couple of checklist thing from an email. There's some great things that Krista saw at Leadership. I screenshotted the stuff from Ashley Molstead. Simplicity is basically, you're onboarded. I want you to do the exact same thing that you did. So today's call with her, my new coach, she asked what the next first 30 days said, and I said, well, you're expected to start your journey and post in my challenge group. So if you sign up tonight, you're going to start posting as a coach in my challenge group. And in the next 30 days, you're going to duplicate this by 3. And she goes, So I need to sign up 3 coaches. And I said, yeah, that would be great. It didn't overcomplicate it. I didn't talk about challenge packs or volume or any of that stuff. I just said, and then if you can onboard 3 coaches, we can help you train so that they're ready in January.
I don't really have a question, but as you were talking about the person that invited you followed up many times, and you mentioned follow up in your bike riding thing at Super Saturday this weekend, we had our Tina Marie as our guest speaker. And she said over a course of I think 2 years, there were 2 different coaches who initially messaged her about joining. And the first one asked her, she said no, and she never replied again or followed up. This other girl, whoever her coach is, she never said her name. I always thought it was Ruth, but I actually think it's a coach between her. Anyways, she said she did what we want our coaches to do. She followed up for challenge groups. She followed up for business. She followed up for, what's up, girl? I saw that post. How are you doing? Do you want to talk? Are you okay? Just about life. And I, tell my coaches every follow-up doesn't have to be, are you ready now?
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, it worked out that this girl is obviously who she decided to sign up with. And the day she became a coach, she sent the other girl a message and said, I just wanted to let you know I just became a coach. Are we on the same team? Because she's like, I didn't know what it was. And this girl was like, wait, you signed up to be a coach? I thought you weren't interested. So I never said anything else about it. And Artina said every time, evidently it was like a friend. She said every time she sees me, she's like, if only I had made those follow-ups. So I haven't shared that with my team yet. Some of them are on here, but when she said that, I was like, this is the perfect example of you have to follow up. And it's not something that you're bugging people about. It's not something to be fearful of. Like you said, you got to do it.
I mean, I told my coach that I would never do this. She stuck me on our team strong leg because I was a discount coach. And we are a powerhouse team for her. So yeah, it took her 4 months. I would be careful though. I mean, I can tell you all this because you're coaches and you've already signed up, but I'm careful on my team calls not to say that too often because I don't want to plant the seeds that it's going to take 4 months for somebody else to find that joy, sometimes the power of our words, we have to make sure that I really do believe you could go Emerald tomorrow. In about 5 minutes, I'm running an Emerald in 24 hours call. And, I have to be careful that I don't keep saying I followed up with you 17 times, which is true, but I want you to know that you can do this on the first time and that you will have people message you on the first time that are ready to jump in. I hope that helped. I mean, maybe you need to print off a picture of a bicycle, or if you have kids, watch them ride a bike and think about that for a hot second. This business is not complicated. We make it complicated. Riding a bike is not, well, it is. There's inertia and all that crap, but it's not that hard.
I love that. It's not hard. It's not complicated, but we make it complicated. We do. All right. So if there are no other questions, we will let you get on to your other call. I did record tonight's call, so I will get it to everybody so that you can all have it. Any other questions for Nicole before we hop off? All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for joining. Nicole, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
It was awesome. Have a good rest of your night.
Bye.
Bye.